going first in game number 2, at least I think Robert will choose to go first here, although there are sometimes strategies where you can just let your opponent start, just to throw off their siding patterns and stuff like that. However, against a deck like Vanadium, I think you probably want to start. You can't really risk a deck of that sort of ceiling getting to go first uninterrupted. So it looks like Robert is going first here, picking up a Prosperity. A lot of extra deck cards in this are quite redundant in Mekanko, so it is able to just quite fearlessly remove cards that we're not going to need here and try and dig for some sort of combo piece that we're going to have to try and stop Loa's powerful combo deck.
Yeah, let's see whether it resolves.
Deciding to keep the Zeus in the extra deck is also really interesting right there, so probably planning on breaking back a field, and Neo Space Connectors immediately getting some applause from the crowd. We don't even know if it's go. There it is.
Chaos too.
Yeah, it really is just pick your choice there at that stage. There's a lot of good starters there. There's the warrior portion of the deck, probably going to involve the Infernoble strategy. The Arabesque is a great starter as well, and looks like Loa does not have anything for the connector here, so we could see multiple hand loops potentially with the effect of Aqua Dolphin being not once per turn. Or rather, a not hard once per turn.
But I mean, we are for sure going to have knowledge about the hand as well, because that's the cool thing about the Aqua Dolphin. It does not only discard something, but it will let you look into the opponent's hand, and there we go. So we're all going to see what's in there. Lightning Storm cannot be discarded, of course. And is there even something we can discard overall? I don't think there is. No. Loa just picks it up again.
We're going to take some life point damage here, but the important thing is that we do get the knowledge despite that, so I think that's really important. The double Reamheart in the hand as well as Visas is a starter in and of itself, so as long as Robert can put up enough here to prevent the interaction of Visas on Reamheart, we'll see how that actually pans out for him.
Yeah, and also the Lightning Storm is there, so you know that you have to play around that for sure.
And it is really easy to play around that if you're not only going for link summons. You can just summon everything in defense position. However, this is really iconic. I just remember the Goki times of Yu-Gi-Oh! Neospace and Connector into Aqua Dolphin, into Isolde.
Yeah, Isolde having such a prominent aspect of the meta in 2018, I think might give people very fond memories, or nightmares, depending on which side of the Goki spectrum you are on, as it was a real powerhouse of a card. And Isolde Send for Summon Armageddonite is a pretty iconic strategy, but maybe not at this level of tournament play.
Probably not, but we first of all used the effect to add something from the deck to our hand, and our card of choice was Infernoble Knight Roland, which was double read by Loa there to make sure what it does. And what are we even going to summon here? I'm pretty curious. Do we go for one of... Oh, okay, we still go with our Infernoble cards, and this time it is going to be Renault.
Yeah, Renault can recruit back the equip spell, I believe, when it's special summoned by targeting the Mayoshidori, if I'm saying that correctly. And this is the protection effect offered by the Mekankos.
Yeah. I think with YCS it's always so cool that people just come up with completely new deck ideas that are not really in the spotlight just yet. Because honestly, if you would have told me before the event Mekanko Infernoble is a thing, I would have just said, yeah, maybe. I don't really think it is something you could top a YCS with. But here is Robert, and he is just in here in top 64 of the tournament. And I think those stories at the YCS are always the best about it, because heroes are born, underdogs are becoming champions, and maybe Robert is going to be the next champion with a really cool deck here.
Honestly, Mekanko always slips through in the tournaments we were commentating on. I think at German Nationals there were like 2 even in the top cut.
Yeah.
What a crazy deck, and never on stream has it performed so far, so I'm really curious to see what this uninterrupted Mekanko combo is going to be like.
Totally. We've got the summoning out of Hare here with Arabesque from the deck, and then we will probably at some point get to Huli, and that gives you the protection effect. But it looks like we're going to search out the trap here, I think, with the Hare, which... okay, no, we're actually going to go for Fire Dance.
I think the trap is already sitting in his hand, and therefore he doesn't need to search it anymore. And Loa, even though we guessed that he knows all those cards, is definitely making sure to double read all of them. And I mean, even if you do know what they do in general, it's always good to double check. Maybe you missed a little thing about it, and then you just want to make sure to have complete information at that stage of the tournament especially.
Gonna make sure you double check those conditions and restrictions. You know, sometimes you might be caught out with like a little, you know, this card can't be targeted, or this card's once per turn, so important to read your cards. Classic advice for Yu-Gi-Oh players.
Yeah, and I mean, this card can't be targeted is a pretty good thing for Mikanko cards, because yeah, that's a thing they have with them, that it's really tough to go after them with targeting effects.
It's kind of their whole gimmick and theme is that they are offering a lot of protection effects. Looks like we're going to continue off with a synchro summon. Okay,
nice.
I guess this is how we reach Ohime at some point. I'm sure this Herald will hit the field, hit the grave at some point to get a search.
That's actually a good point.
Although just leaving it up here could be pretty decent.
Yeah,
it's just a good interrupt by itself.
As a negate. I mean, usually for the latest times, I've seen Herald of the Arclight never really being used to search for a ritual monster, but it's so powerful. It was always just there that extra negate, maybe in the Melfi Sprite deck or something, but here we have it actually searching out a ritual card, so working as part of the engine. And Loa has to make sure, does it even work? But of course, Robert probably has been doing this the entire weekend already.
Yeah, a little bit kind of worried on Robert's part here. I'm sure there's a plan long-term, because remember he did activate the Aquadolphin this turn and check out that there's a Lightning Storm in the hand, so unfortunately Apollosa is not going to be able to sit in defense position, so we'll see if he's got some sort of protection in place for the Apollosa here.
Let's see, I'm going to bring up the trap that I think Robert has in hand. I'm going to read up on that one because I'm not that familiar with Mikanko cards.
Alright, share with the class.
Target one face-up monster your opponent controls, equip that face-up monster to one Mikanko monster you control as an equip spell, then if a ritual monster card is on the field, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each equip spell you control. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon one of your Mikanko monsters that is banished or in your hand. You can only use each effect of Mikanko Spiritual Walk once per turn.
I didn't understand a word of that. I was too focused on how beautifully you read that, honestly.
Yeah, the way he changed his voice, right? He never talks to us like that. He just does that voice when he's reading out cards. It's okay, but let's see. That Spirit Walk is the only trap card he has in hand, but he's not done yet. Okay, we are this time even ritual summoning out the Ohime by using the ritual spell of the deck, which is the... Or no, it's not even the ritual spell, but it's the Great Mikanko Ceremony.
It kind of is a ritual spell, but it's
right?
not a ritual spell, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it has the same color, right? So I guess that's close enough. It actually summons out and ignores the summoning conditions. So technically not correctly ritual summon, but we can add back Hule here and the Mia Shidori. Or special summoning out the Hule.
Yeah, we're setting up quite a bit, and now, importantly enough, we do get to summon those cards in defense position, and there is the second trap card that we're adding there, and that is going to be
Rivalry.
Mikanko Rivalry indeed.
So I believe the idea, could be wrong here, is that Rivalry can be used to be equipped onto the Apollosa, and that protects it from the Lightning Storm, I want to say.
Yeah, that works.
All right, let's see. 2 set cards here, and we're retrieving the Arabesque.
Ooh, Arabesque onto the Apollosa already. Okay, so Apollosa is equipped with an equip spell already at this point of time. But does that generally also protect it?
Yeah, the equipped monster cannot be destroyed by card effects.
Yeah, perfect.
Fantastic.
That works. So people were wondering why you would put that Apollosa there in attack position, but we have now found a solution to it.
So if this is like the perfect end field that you can have, there are, I think, 3 words that are really scaring you. It's enter battle phase.
No Omnis, I think, here, so it will be quite a terrifying card to contend with. But I actually haven't seen too many evenly matches in people's side decks this weekend.
Yeah.
And I wonder why that is. I guess there's just so many good boss monsters to end on that keeping something like a Noir is probably not really ideal for a lot of players. But we got this Lightning Storm, probably just going to go for the spells and traps here.
Which is still really good.
Yeah. It does force out the...
Oh, no.
Wow.
That's just resolving. That's an instant +3 there on the field for Loa. That's huge.
I was sure that Hule protected the equips, but apparently not. It's only the Mikanko monsters that are protected from Hule.
Yeah. I mean, we built all of that up just to immediately get all of our cards taken away by the Lightning Storm we already knew about.
So what's the Cosmic gonna do now?
Yeah, it's kind of lonely without any other spell and trap cards on the field, true.
All right, well, just a 3 material Apollosa, which admittedly is quite strong in its own right. Oh, okay, we picked up Fenrir. Okay.
Even match for the Apollosa, I want to say.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, but Ohime is going to use its effect, which is, of course, a quick effect, so we can also do it on the opponent's turn. And you can target one equip spell in your graveyard to equip it to one appropriate monster on the field. and that is going to be the Reflection Rondo right there. And that means we are now having a Xtira Fenrir on our side of the field.
But there is the Cosmic Cyclone that is oh so strong, and I think that just actually does something. It can just... Okay, maybe this does not work that way.
It must be protected, I think, right? Surely, otherwise you would just Cosmic this Equip spell.
Oh, when this card leaves the field, send the equipped monster to the graveyard.
Oh,
so it actually doesn't matter. Very well. So Rimhard is normal summon, and that's going to be... Oh, okay. So I just noticed that he reduced the attack of Apollosa, but in fact it seems like Loa chose not to activate the effect of Rimhard.
Just picking it up. That was more than enough by Robert. Mikanko winning game number 2 here in tip 64 of YCS Dortmund.
I can't believe that we set up that whole field knowing that Lightning Storm was going to be such a problem card, but regardless...
It still wasn't enough.
Yeah, the Ohime protection plus the Apollosa was just too much.
We just snatch-stealed the Fenrir. That's it.
You know, stealing only is the best way to protect your cards, I suppose. You know, if you can't win with your own, take your opponent's Fenrir.
That worked out nicely there for Robert. I was worried for him for a sec after that Lightning Storm for real, but it didn't matter. He still won.
Imagine how crazy this deck gets if you actually get to use your trap cards.
Oh, stop it. That's too much, really. But I mean, now, of course, Loa, again, with the combo deck, going first, having the option to side and even more cards. But I think very understandable, he's not even bringing too many going first cards, because by nature, his deck going first is just a powerhouse. So why would you side in cards like Anti-Spell or stuff like that? Because your deck on its own is just so powerful already.
I think the thing I'm worried about is that Loa does have quite a strong engine, obviously, for going first. It's built to go first as a crazy combo deck, but Droll and Lockbird is in the side, and I think even if you're going first, you probably want to bring that in against Mikanko. There's a lot of searching and recruiting in there.
Maybe also Cosmic Cyclone, because I think this is a fantastic card going first against Mikanko, because this Reflection Rondo, you just really want to banish this, because otherwise you're going to lose your strong monsters.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
There's a lot of good options in here for Loa, I think, for going first. But even just taking a look at Robert's side deck, there's definitely a lot of anti-combo in here. We've got 3 copies of Nibiru, we've got DD Crow, which could be okay, I think. There's a decent amount of graveyard interaction.
You can go after
I think if you hit
or something, or maybe the Visas
at the right time, I think could be pretty good. It does limit off that Cross Sheep. But Droplets is a huge second card. That's an incredible card to have in this matchup. So much of this is going to come down to comparing these defensive and non-engine cards and see, I suppose, who can prevent the other from playing the most. And this is really exciting to see what's going to happen here.
One technical question to check back in on game number 2. The Cosmic Cyclone was not used there. But if you just chain the Cosmic Cyclone to the activation of the Equip spell, it's probably not going to be on the field yet. But wait, no, it was not classically activated. It was activated through the effect of something else. Yeah, if it would be a regular activation, I think just chaining it would mean that it's never on the field and it would have worked. But the way to activate it through the Mikanko monster led to it immediately being on the field. Yeah, so that was kind of unfortunate there for Loa, but he will have a chance to make up for it as we are entering game number 3 of this top 64 match here at YCS Dortmund.
Game number 3 here starting off, and Loa is most likely going to want to begin here and try and do much of before. Set up that crazy, amazing combo, as well as setting the Omni Trap card. And you can see that Robert has picked up an Ash Blossom and Imperm in his hand.
Yeah, multiple interruptions this time. Definitely looking better than in game 1.
But those aren't high impact interruptions, you know?
Yeah,
I think
that's the thing, right? Like, typically you would want to see that side deck Nibiru potentially, but we'll see if Ash and Imperm combined together is going to be enough here.
Because this is already crazy. If you're having Ash and Imperm, this is 2 out of your 6 cards here that you will have. And if the Fenrir is already there, this thing doesn't care.
Yeah. Fenrir, search Fenrir. No drone Lockbird anywhere to be seen. And Robert really wants to make sure how to go about this. I think that is a kind of nice card to go for with Ash Blossom. But Robert does disagree, and we are searching out the Scareclaw Rai card there.
I think it's always one of those paradoxical situations where if you ash one card, they might have the other one, and then if you ash that one, they might have, you know, it's, I like to call it the Alistair paradox, you know?
Oh, but we go for the Rykard as our Ash Blossom target.
A normal summon Rykard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually probably the best part of this, I think, in terms of his options. But despite this, I think the Rykard can just be made into the Light Heart. The Light Heart can get a field spell, so there's just a lot of plays still available, I think.
And he also has Riem Heart in his hand, a Droplet, and I think Scareclaw Kashtira.
Okay, as you were anticipating, we just immediately linked that Rykard off to go for Light Heart, grabbing ourselves field spell number 2 for this game.
Yeah, keep a counter.
Where is it? Oh, there we go, Rykphobia.
So Rykphobia I don't think offers too much for this deck other than just the activation search. I think you probably end on Calarium at some point here, but we'll see if he's got enough gas in the tank to keep rotating out those different versions of Visas, and we'll see if we can also put up something like Apollousa. Yeah. In a world where we've saw Loa end on something like an Apollousa, I'm just wondering if there's a world in where you wait until your own turn to use Imperm on Apollousa, but you might be worried about that also being developed with a Baron, I guess, right?
True, true. Rykphobia, I think mainly going second is a nice tool for the on-field effect because you can actually destroy opponents' cards. Yeah. And now, do we go for the Riem Heart? Do we want to Imperm that? Robert really saying, I need to consider this. And he better takes his time about it, and there it comes, Imperm on the Riem Heart.
And now is this what's stopping the combo? We know that Loa has one more card that he can use, which is the Scareclaw Kashtira. He has a Fenrir in hand, which cannot be used currently, and a Droplet that is also not going to help his case. So does he get anywhere with summoning the Scareclaw Kashtira right here?
A lot of hand traps and disruptions coming off here, and just alone and by themselves, Ash and Imperm not exactly amazing against Vanadium with the right hand, but when you start pairing up multiples of them, it's going to be quite hard to really extend if you don't draw those right pieces here, and it doesn't look like it.
We are just passing over. Robert nodding his head, realizing his 2 interactions were good enough, and he picks up Prosperity for turn.
Huge pickup as we begin our game 2 here, because Prosperity can dig for whatever he feels is necessary to beat this semi-underwhelming field. We just have a back row and a Fenrir, and so we can go for some defensive cards, or we can probably try and get a starter into our hand. Let's see what he decides to go for.
Water Arabesque is already insane, because you can bounce the Fenrir by special summoning a monster from your deck. That is absolutely crazy. And if there are no hard negates, no omni negates, this deck is just going completely insane here. But we might as well just start off with a Pot of Prosperity.
He's not sure himself. He's reconsidering and reconsidering, but there is the Mikanko Water Arabesque onto the Fenrir.
Prosperity being such a important and just really powerful card this format, I think is naturally just a testament to how good it is. But I think sometimes it can be a little tricky to use, right? Because it's like you kind of have to question yourself, like, do I begin with the Pot of Prosperity, or do I try and play with what little resources I have and then dig for something after I get stopped?
Yep. So that one Fenrir joining the other one in hand. So now 2 Fenrirs in hand for Loa. And in advance, Robert also got himself a Hooli onto the field.
Last line of defense is going to be that set Droplet, and good thing about Droplet is that it doesn't target, it does send.
Very important.
For cost, and you cannot respond to it. But the whole gimmick of Mikanko's being protected from targeting and destruction is going to be really, really not that relevant here.
Okay, fetching ourselves Mikanko Super Walk again. Oh no, Spirit Walk.
Super Walk. Super Walk.
I mean, it is a pretty superb walk he's taking right now into the field of Loa there.
We'll see if it's a walk into victory.
Yeah, hopefully for him.
All right, so we didn't normal summon, so that's going to be used on Hare.
We still have Infinite Noble cards in our hand. Look at that, he's just joining the Mikankos on the field. Yeah. There is now a Renault as well, and we are probably just going to go for good old... Where is she? Yeah, our Link to Monster of Choice. There she is, Isolde coming onto the field. And that feels like a card you might want to use your Droplet on, I guess.
Yeah, I think the Droplet, if at some point you're going to use it, this might be the best place to try and use it, because it's an incredible card that just fetches you into the rest of your combo, and I think it just makes the most sense here.
Yep, there we go, dropping it.
The great thing about Isolde is that sending equipped cards for is a cost, so you can actually still send cards to your graveyard that just special summon out monsters if you want.
Yeah, and sometimes against like real decks like Infernoble that are really focusing on the warrior part of the deck, you would be like, yeah, you don't really want to use, we dropped it on the first effect of Isolde because the second one could still be used with a second Isolde later on, but in the extra deck Robert, there is only one Isolde, so he's not going to be able to special summon out from the deck, but as we see, he's still going to be able to send some equip spells here to the graveyard, because as Leo said, that was a cost for the effect.
Yeah, just having that setup there is really important because there's a lot of equipping from the grave that happens. So even though we don't get the special summon of, I guess, 3 would probably equate to, I think, Aqua Dolphin, still negated by the droplet, it means that we do have that setup that we're trying to look for here. And I'm wondering if we can go for game at this point.
I mean,
what's the defense? It's 21, right?
Yes, it should be.
So I think we can do like 21 reflected damage twice. Maybe if we can get some more Makankos on the field or something, we'll see if we can lead towards 8,000. I think generally with this deck, you want to be able to have your opponent have a big and attack position monster. So we'll see if Robert can either just deplete Loa down to like no resources and set up that rivalry, or actually go for game here. Okay, looks like we are just going to do some damage.
Going for game is very unlikely because there's two things to consider. First of all, the Reichphobia lowers the attack of the monsters by Robert. Second of all, he did go for the Prosperity, didn't he?
Well,
yeah. Or is it still in hand? Oh,
yeah,
I think it might still be in hand, right?
Oh, yeah, we haven't used it yet.
There was no Prosperity.
Well, the Makankos have 0 attack, so...
True, they're not really lowered there. You're right, you're right.
Isolde is, though, heavily lowered, also halved.
Yep, true. And now in main phase 2, after doing 4,200 points of damage, we are going to go for the Prosperity. This is looking good for Robert, honestly.
It's not 42, it's half.
But I mean, he's on 3,800 there.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because the Prosperity just comes down.
Yeah. We just went over this.
Exactly. So
it's been a long day for us as well.
All right. What do we got?
Oh, don't hide it from us, Robert. We need to see it.
I think we've got an Ohime.
Yes, there we can see it. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, Magician's Soul is also such a nice card to go for. But there's Ohime as the 6th card, and right away Robert realized that's the one he wants and needs.
So Prosperity resolves. Ohime added to the hand is looking pretty strong. Can we just summon this out, or do we just use the reveal effect of Ohime now?
Okay, Ohime effect, revealing itself, going into the deck right away, and there is the ceremony we also had last game.
Yeah, so I think our same setup that we did in the last game is probably what we're going to end up with here. Discard out of the hand from using the Ohime, and it means now we can go for the Makanko ceremony, special summoning her out, and we're going to be able to transfer equips on our opponent's turn here.
Oh, that is really interesting because now we have one more defense position monster on the field.
Yeah, you have to be aware of that because now at some point the Reichphobia effect might come in, but we just got rid of a whole lot of those defense position monsters, and once again the Appaloosa there.
Yeah, Appaloosa being made with your opponent's monster. I was worried for a second he was about to bounce the Reinhardt, but it actually steals from the equip spell, and now Appaloosa for 3, as well as the set and the Ohime live.
Looking good.
He managed to crack the field.
Yeah, that was very, very powerful by Robert. Cool display of the Mikanko archetype here already, but is it going to be enough? We know Loa has double Fenrir and a Scarecrow Tira in hand. So all cards on the table basically for both players, because Robert has no cards left in hand and Loa has all of the cards publicly known, basically.
Oh, that's interesting. He chose not to negate the effect of Scarecrow Tira to summon itself with the Appaloosa.
Yep, and he also did not summon... He did not wait until he could summon Fenrir before that.
Yeah.
Sure, we just have that Fenrir now sitting in our hand, or 2 of them even, and we cannot get them onto the field. So I like not negating the Scarecrow Tira because that just blocks the 2 Fenrirs in hand.
Oh, and there's another droplet, so you basically
picked up a droplet there.
Place.
Yeah.
I think if Loa had any other type of engine, he might be able to do something here, but it's actually looking quite weak. And it looks like we're going to the battle phase, and then using the Ohime, equipping onto the Scarecrow Tira, and then stealing it.
Okay.
But that's interesting now for Loa, because he has the Fenrir and he can activate the search effect. He has used the Scarecrow Tira summon effect in the last end phase, so there is the possibility to try and summon it again. that would probably activate Apollosa, and then you could banish something with Fenrir. Or we are just sitting at 20 Fenrirs.
Yeah. Also, it's main phase only. Let's not forget about that for Scareclaw Kashtira.
Could have summoned the Fenrir in defense position and used Phobia to pop the Apollosa.
Oh, that would have been nice. You're right. But I mean, is maybe the Apollosa also equipped with one of the Mikanko spells? Oh, but it's just going to be one more set card for Loa. And back to the Mikanko player, Robert. And I think, look, by the speed he picked up his graveyard there, he realizes this might be the turn we're about to end this. This might be the turn we are going to go into top 32. Oh, he's already a little bit too furious because he wanted to activate in the fact that he cannot activate there.
That happens to the best.
Yes, for sure.
Well, I mean, at an absolute minimum, just attacking with the Huli into the Fenrir is going to be 24 damage, so...
Yep.
Let's see how we play this one out. So Hime returning itself to the hand, draws for turn.
Also to the Nibiru.
Yeah, okay. Didn't even need it. Didn't even need it.
That is fantastic follow-up, I want to say. I don't really think that's a good draw, but I mean, Robert had a line of play in his head, and he might actually be able to go for it because he wants to use cards in the graveyard.
Yeah, so the last line of defense for Loa being that droplet to prevent Huli from dealing the reflected damage here, I think is going to be the last saving grace, but I'm just worried that he's down to so few cards that even if he survives this turn, it's going to be a real uphill battle here.
Imagine he's attacking with the Scareclaw Kashtira, because droplet can't even half the defense of Scareclaw Kashtira, and it would still attack over the Fenrir, but I think, yeah, you would attack first with the Huli.
Okay, so I think there's currently a little bit of a judge call going on, but they have come to a conclusion, so we might as well stay with the table because the players are going to pick up play again here. So
Mikanko as a strategy, thoughts?
I mean, now I'm a fan.
Now you're a fan.
Now that you're putting me on the spot, it looks pretty good to me.
Now you're Ohime's #1 soldier.
Yeah. I think I would just play that from now on. That will be my new deck.
You're gonna ditch Plunder Patrol?
Probably, yeah. Mikanko looks better to me right now.
Wait, you're a plunder spieler? When did this happen?
Yeah, since
did I miss this conversation?
Since Euros, because there was a plunder player doing pretty well in the tournament, and then
okay.
I always pick out the cool decks, I guess. Okay, but now back to Robert, because he's certainly the best Mikanko player left in the tournament, and he's about to maybe move himself into the top 32 just in this turn.
So we have Apollosa, Huli, and the Scareclaw Kashtira. There is one droplet left, and we have the Fenrir as well. Can this be enough for Loa? Because, I mean, Fenrir and droplet are actually kind of okay. You can use the droplet to get rid of your own Phobia and a Fenrir in hand, possibly negate the Apollosa plus another monster that is threatening you, and then activate Fenrir and then banish something else. So actually there is quite a lot to think about if you're Robert.
For sure. Quick ruling question. Can you activate Forbidden Droplet onto a monster of 0 attack?
No.
Probably not, right? That's what I would be thinking. Because otherwise negating the Huli might be good, because when he tries to attack with it into the Fenrir, and then you just dropped it and it gets destroyed by battle, it would be nice, but due to the fact that it has 0 attack, I don't think that works.
Yeah, I think we have also clarified this yesterday with the skill drain issue. The attack halving comes first. So if there is a monster that attack can't be halved, that's a problem.
Yeah, probably. So we are going to have that ceremony in the graveyard, getting the Ohime out onto the field.
You know, it is the game shot here from Robert's perspective. It really is quite as simple as attack, attack. However, they are going to probably have a bit of a conversation on how this droplet will interact, because it's an extremely important part of this this matchup here as we...
Okay, I've just been informed that there is going to be an appeal situation still for the last ruling, so we should get it back over to us and we will have a little very sorry. We will have a little chat in between those games to kill some time here. So, I'm a Mikanko player now. Leo, are you a Manadium player? Because you have been really, really happy about that deck all day long.
I gotta be honest, Manadium feels really incredible, especially for this format. However, I think this is one of those classic situations where we enter a big tournament. Players have been preparing for a month already, and they have decided, okay, this is a control format. I'm not going to play any high-impact hand traps. don't want to play my Nibiru, don't want to play the big field-breaking cards, and then all of a sudden some players say, hey, what about a hard combo deck? And they just run through the entire tournament because Ash and Impermanence are rarely ever enough, not in this case, to stop the entire first turn. And that is a big edge that you have on the rest of the competition. So I think that after this tournament, players are going to prepare for Vanadium, and then this deck is going to encounter some problems.
So you want to say it was a good call for this event, for sure, but maybe after this event it's not that great anymore?
Exactly.
Okay, I see,
And it is the same with Cosmic Cycling every single time, by the way, but that's another story.
Your favorite story,
Yes.
by the way, which you have been telling times and times and times again.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about Salmgray again? That'll be another interesting story.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I
just
think,
looking over to the table, it seems like we have everything resumed. So let's go back over there and see how this game turns out.
All right, so just some clarifications on the sides of the judges with the players here, and play will resume on Robert's part. It looks like we might be in the battle phase right now. Yep, it does appear to be that way as we declare an attack with Huli.
And now, of course, Loa considering whether to use the droplet here. Maybe not sure himself whether he could actually use it onto the Huli.
Yeah, this is going to be the most important droplet of Loa's life here.
I mean, maybe he has used the droplet in his national champion finals, but droplet is going to be activated. Now we're going to figure out if this works, if he even wants to use this on the Huli.
So we send 2 cards here.
Yep.
And his negates of choices are Apollosa and the Huli.
Can you use that on
Okay,
Huli?
okay,
Well,
let's pay some attention. Is that going to work here?
looks like it does.
Seems like we do successfully negate a monster of 0 attack.
Yeah, so the Huli runs into the Fenrir here. The protection effect does not apply because it's negated by the droplet, and the equip spell also does not offer that type of protection. So Apollosa will be... I was trying to remember how rulings work with Apollosa. So it's negated, but it's still half of its attack. And I think in the end, so it doesn't go to 0 because Apollosa's effect is to gain attack.
Yep.
But I believe it's set to half of its attack. So Apollosa will remain with a negate in the end phase for Loa's turn. But
I think it's a very weird ruling in which in the end phase, when it completely loses its attack. I think in the end phase it goes down to 0 attack for some reason. I know the ruling, and it is half now, and then in the end phase it goes down to 0 attack for some reason.
Right.
Don't ask me about it.
Okay.
So 1,200 and 2,600 defense point of Scarecrow Castillo. This is...
400?
Wait, what? Okay.
So yeah, this is exactly what's being discussed here with the judges. How much attack points does Apollosa have? It should be half of it.
Oh, and there's the handshake. This was exactly 3,800. The Scarecrow Castillo in defense position and the halved Apollosa.
Scareclaw of all things coming in clutch there for the game shot. Unbelievable.
Wow. Mikanko, ladies and gentlemen, in top 32 of YCS Dortmund here in 2023. Who would have thought that? A couple of Infernoble cards also being thrown into it. And that was a really nice match for top 64. But we have so many cool decks overall here in top 64. So why don't we have a look at the overall breakdown here for top 30, or top 64 first of all.
Wow!
Let's go!
Tier limits are back, baby. Graveyards have been on the menu. Unbelievable. Can you imagine that we spent so long with tiers being just on the total outskirts of the metagame for the whole year, basically, with the incorporation of Photon Hypernova. Now that Arise Heart is gone, we're milling a Guido.
Yep, they are back in a very different fashion, but they are absolutely back. And honestly, one very big surprise to me. Yes, Tielemans made its way from 3rd place into 1st place, but what happened to 2nd place? Where's all the Pearly players? They just have completely been eliminated, probably somewhere in the other category. But that's impressive that they converted so badly. And also we see Vanadium made its way into the mentioned category, so there are a couple of decks in there. And then Dragon Link also making his way out of the other category there.
I mean, Dragon Link is basically, now that Castillo Arisart is gone, the natural enemy of Tielemans. You only have 3 names that you can activate to fusion summon with in Tielemans, and if the Bestials come around the corner, it is going to be tough. Also, once again, I think again, this event scenario, right? Now people are going to prepare more for Telement, probably siding in some more Bystials. I don't think that we're ever going to get up to 9 Bystials in the main deck again, possibly 12 with the introduction of Baldrake back then.
Magnamut's at 1.
Yeah.
Magnamut's at 1. Oh, yeah.
Good point.
10.
Sure.
Okay, let's play 10 Bystials.
Yeah,
But
it's actually unbelievable just how much this is sort of reversed in and of itself. You know, time is a flat circle. We're back to Telement once again, for better or for worse. Some people might not be so fond of Telemans coming back,
happy.
but you have to prepare. And would you look at that? I'm happy to see it. I am absolutely ecstatic.
We have always been enjoying it for sure. We were really big
puts on a
fans
great
of
show.
the deck. Absolutely. I mean, the featured match we had for round 12 was absolute insanity. We really enjoyed that. But still, let's not disregard how big that other
There's all
categories.
kinds of things there. We know there's Virtual World. We know there's Drytron. A whole bunch of rogue strategies are out
Is this
there,
2020
honestly.
again?
So many very interesting decks, but let's hear from the guy that actually brought me Kanko Infernoble to the tournament. Let's go over to Ad and the winner's interview.
Welcome, guys. Yes, I am joined here by Robert, who's just won that top 64 feature match, making his way into the top 32 here at YCS Dortmund. Robert, how are you feeling?
Fantastic. It's my first YCS top, so I am extremely happy that also my first feature match went well.
Not only did it go well, you actually just beat the back-to-back Swedish national champion. How does that feel?
Feels pretty good. Feels pretty good.
Yeah. Excellent. So talk to us a bit about Mikanko, because quite an underrepresented deck, but clearly very effective, especially against Vanadium, one that we are seeing quite a bit of play, especially in this top cut as well. Why do you like Mikanko?
Mikanko is really cool because most people expect you to go second with it, but as you saw in my build, I'm going first and doing combos, and then because of the inherent power of the engine, it's also able to go second when you open, especially when you open a lot of Mikanko cards. So it makes it very difficult for my opponent to side against me, and it catches a lot of people off guard.
I was going to talk about catching people off guard because it's got some quite tricky effects, some of those cards, and we were seeing in that feature there was a lot of having to read the cards, so clearly a lot of people are unfamiliar. Does that throw a lot of your opponents off in the matches that you've had so far here?
Sometimes, yeah. A lot of the times people forget Huli can't be targeted, stops everything being targeted. That's one of the big ones. And there's a lot of the cards have like extra effects, like the traps have graveyard effects which allow like recursion. So some people think that I'm down on cards and then I just use my graveyard to keep going. So yeah, it's been very effective.
Incredibly effective because you've just won that. So let's go through the games. There was a first one, Loa sort of ended up taking game one, bit of domination. How are you feeling in that moment? Did that worry you? Were the nerves kicking in of the feature?
No, I mean, not really. The game one, I knew I opened a lot of going first cards and won Ash Blossom, and he had the Calarium, he had the Fenrir, he had everything, so I knew I was going to lose. It was probably not worth it. But then, yeah, the end board was a bit too overwhelming for me to beat. But yeah, I was still confident game 2 and 3 I'd be able to pull it back, you know, game 3 with a side deck.
Boy, did you pull it back. So in that second one, you built a really good field with the 4 back row, but then it got lightning strike. What have I written here? Lightning storm. So I don't know, I've written lightning strike down for some reason. It got lightning stormed. And so when you've lost that back row, obviously a lot of the Mikanko spell effects quite useful. How did you feel when you lose such a strong back row?
I already knew his hand because of the Echo Dolphin, so I knew there was the back removal wasn't particularly good because the Apollosa would basically carry the game, and the Ohime equipping the Arabestia Apollosa protects it from card effects, so that was the thing I was mostly trying to protect in our board because that was going to be my win condition against the Vanadium board.
So basically ended up with Loa scooping. Then we get into that game 3. It was quite a battle of attrition. You built up a huge field, great use of effects, but also you played around not 1 but 2 droplets in game 3. So talk to us about what was going through your mind during those moments. You seemed just pretty confident and knew what you were doing.
Yeah, so the first droplet was on Isolde, which I was not very worried about because the cost of Isolde is actually the good part for my deck. Getting to send those equips is extremely valuable for your recursion, the Mario Story especially. So I was not really worried about the first one. The second one, I saw it coming because it set 1 card, so I was like, must be droplet. But I had enough cards. I had the trap to steal the Fenrir, and then Scarecrow Cash could also attack. So it was even if Droplet for everything, it was still a big game.
It certainly was game, and you've taken it all the way now. Do you reckon you can continue through the top 32 all the way to that final with Mekanko?
I'm just gonna take it one game at a time, see how it goes. And yeah, I'm already ecstatic to have gone this far, but I'm not gonna let my sort of guard down and just try my best. See where I am.
You're a smart man. That's the wise thing to do. Keep focused. Just take it one game at a time. Best of luck to you in that top 32 cut. I hope it goes well for you. Perhaps we'll see you in the final. Who knows? But, you know, good luck. I hope it goes well.